The 4-Hour Body, an uncommon guide to rapid fat loss, incredible sex, and becoming superhuman, by Timothy Ferriss. Picture this scene for a moment. You're backstage at a 9 Inch Nails concert. The bass is so thunderous you can feel your ribcage vibrating. 20,000 fans are losing their minds, and the atmosphere is absolutely electric. But here's where it gets weird. In the men's bathroom, tucked away in a stall, there's a guy doing air squats. Not just a casual few, mind you. Exactly 40 of them. His buddy walks in, sees what's happening, and nearly dies laughing. He's telling everyone about this lunatic squatting in a bathroom stall while one of the most intense rock shows on the planet rages outside. Later that same night, our mysterious squatter sits down and absolutely demolishes 2 entire barbecue chicken pizzas. We're talking 400 calories in one sitting. And get this, that was meal number 4 of the day. Breakfast had been 2 chocolate croissants and 2 bear claws the size of small children. You'd expect this guy to wake up feeling like garbage, right? Bloated, guilty, maybe up a few pounds? Here's the twist. 72 hours later, when he checks his body fat percentage, he's actually leaner. Over the next 2 weeks, following this bizarre pattern of disciplined eating, mixed with absolutely insane binge sessions, he drops from nearly 12% body fat down to just over 10%. The bathroom squatter was Timothy Ferriss, and he'd turned his own body into a living science experiment. This isn't just some random weird story. It's actually the perfect window into one of the most unconventional health books ever written, The 4-Hour Body. This isn't your grandmother's diet book. It won't lecture you about eating more kale or jogging for an hour every morning. Actually, it argues that most mainstream health advice is completely backwards. Tim Ferriss spent over $250,000 experimenting on himself, becoming a human guinea pig to answer one deceptively simple question. What's the tiniest change you can make that produces the biggest possible result? He calls this concept the minimum effective dose. Today, I'm going to walk you through the incredible discoveries he made. By the time we're done, you'll understand how to get jaw-dropping results in fat loss, muscle building, and overall performance by actually doing less instead of more. You'll learn how to essentially rewrite your body's operating system. This isn't theory from some ivory tower. It's what actually works in the messy, real world. So settle in, because we're about to dive into the fascinating universe of the 4-Hour Body. So where does this wild journey begin? Everything in the 4-Hour Body is built on one game-changing concept that completely transforms how you think about effort and results. It's called the minimum effective dose, or MED for short. Here's a great way to understand it. Think about boiling water. You need to heat water to exactly 212 degrees Fahrenheit, or 100 degrees Celsius, to make it boil. Once it's boiling, it's boiling. Cranking up the heat to 300 degrees doesn't make it more boiled. That extra energy is completely wasted. According to Ferriss, your body works exactly the same way. To trigger fat loss, you only need the minimum stimulus necessary to start a specific hormonal reaction. To build muscle, you just need the smallest amount of stress to kickstart the growth process. Anything beyond that minimum effective dose isn't just wasteful. It can actually backfire, leading to burnout, injuries, and giving up in frustration. This revolutionary idea came from Arthur Jones, this brilliant but incredibly cranky inventor of Nautilus exercise machines. Jones famously proved you could get amazing results with brutally short but intense workouts. He once helped a professional bodybuilder pack on 63 pounds of muscle in just 28 days, using workouts that lasted less than 30 minutes. Jones understood something crucial. More isn't better. Better is better. And often better actually means less. This single idea, the minimum effective dose, unlocks everything else in the book. It forces you to ask a completely different question. Not, how much more can I possibly do? But rather, what's the smallest thing I can do to get the result I'm after? But before applying any principle, you need something powerful, a reason that won't let you quit when things get tough. Most of us fail at diets and workout plans not because the advice is bad, but because our motivation isn't strong enough. It's a nice to have, not a must-have. Ferriss calls the moment everything changes your Harajuku moment. It's a personal epiphany, a tipping point where a casual desire becomes an absolute necessity. He shares the story of Chad Fowler, this brilliant computer programmer who'd been overweight for more than a decade. For years, he just coasted along, wishing he were healthier but never actually taking action. One day, Chad's in Tokyo's Harajuku district, which is famous for cutting-edge fashion. While his friends are shopping, he's standing outside feeling frumpy and invisible. He turns to his friend and says something that would completely change his trajectory. "For me, it doesn't even matter what I wear. I'm not going to look good anyway." The moment those words left his mouth, he actually heard himself. He heard the complete helplessness in his own voice. Here was a guy who succeeded at literally everything he attempted: career, music, learning languages. But when it came to his body, he was acting like a powerless victim. He suddenly realized he'd allowed being unfit to become part of his core identity. That was his Harajuku moment. It wasn't about the clothes at all. It was about recognizing he was living an incomplete life, and he had the power to change it right now. Once he made that internal decision, everything became easier. He went on to lose over 70 pounds. So your first step isn't actually finding the perfect diet or workout program. It's discovering your personal reason, the thing that makes changing non-negotiable in your life. Once you've found your reason, the next step is facing reality head-on. And reality starts with honest measurement, because what gets measured gets managed. Ferriss is absolutely adamant about this point. Don't rely solely on your bathroom scale. Weight can be incredibly deceptive. You might be losing fat while gaining muscle, and the stupid scale won't budge even a fraction. This is exactly where most people get discouraged and quit entirely. Instead, you need what he calls a physical GPS system. Take before photos of yourself in your underwear, front, back, and side views. They'll probably look worse than you imagined. Perfect. Stick the least flattering one on your refrigerator. This photo becomes your defense mechanism against self-sabotage. When you're tempted to cheat, it'll be right there, reminding you exactly why you started this journey. Next step, grab a tape measure. Measure your upper arms, waist, hips, and upper legs. Add all these numbers together to get your total inches. This number, combined with your body fat percentage, gives you a far more accurate picture of progress than weight alone ever could. Facing these numbers and photos isn't about shame or punishment. It's about establishing a genuine starting point. It's about making the problem conscious so you can actually solve it. Which brings us to the most famous section of the entire book, the Slow-Carb Diet. This protocol has helped thousands of people drop 20 pounds of fat in 30 days, often without doing any exercise whatsoever. The diet is built on 5 straightforward, absolutely non-negotiable rules. Rule 1. Avoid all white carbohydrates. No bread, no rice, even if it's brown, no pasta, no potatoes, no cereal whatsoever. If it's white or could be white, you don't eat it. These foods convert almost instantly into stored body fat. Just following this single rule gets you halfway to your goal. Rule 2. Eat the same few meals on repeat. This might sound incredibly boring, but it's actually the secret weapon of the most successful dieters. It eliminates decision fatigue and makes following the plan almost automatic. You build your meals from 3 simple groups: protein, legumes, and vegetables. For protein, think eggs, especially egg whites, chicken breast, beef, and fish. For legumes, focus on lentils, black beans, and pinto beans. This is absolutely critical. Legumes provide the calories and fiber you need to feel satisfied and energized throughout the day. For vegetables, load up on spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, and green beans. Mixed vegetables become your absolute best friend. Here's the beautiful part. You can eat as much as you want of these approved foods. This isn't about starving yourself or counting calories obsessively. Eat until you're genuinely satisfied. Rule 3. Don't drink your calories. Drink massive quantities of water. Unsweetened tea and black coffee are perfectly fine. But absolutely no milk, no soft drinks, and definitely no fruit juice. A single glass of orange juice contains as much sugar as a can of soda. The only exception Ferriss makes is 1 or 2 glasses of dry red wine per evening. Rule 4. Don't eat fruit. This rule surprises most people, but fructose, the primary sugar in fruit, gets very efficiently converted by your liver into the building blocks of fat. For 6 days each week, you completely avoid fruit. The only exceptions are tomatoes and avocados, though you should eat avocados in moderation. Which leads us to the rule that makes everything else possible. Rule 5. Take 1 complete day off every week. This is your designated cheat day. Ferriss jokingly calls it Dieters Gone Wild Day. For 24 glorious hours, usually Saturday, you can eat literally anything your heart desires. Ice cream, pizza, croissants, beer. Nothing is off limits. Go absolutely crazy. This isn't just about maintaining your sanity, though that's important. This scheduled binge actually helps you lose more fat in the long run. It spikes your caloric intake and prevents your metabolism from slowing down, which normally happens on extended diets. It's essentially a strategic reset button for your hormones. That's the entire system. 5 rules. Avoid white carbs, repeat simple meals, don't drink calories, skip the fruit, and take 1 day weekly to go absolutely nuts. Now you're probably wondering about that pizza binge at the 9 Inch Nails concert. How on earth did he lose fat after eating like that? This is where things get really fascinating. Ferriss developed what he calls a damage control protocol specifically for cheat days to minimize actual fat gain. The goal is directing as much food as possible into your muscles instead of your fat cells. He accomplishes this using 3 specific tactics. First, he blunts insulin release. Insulin is your body's main storage hormone. He ensures his first meal of cheat day is extremely high in protein, which dramatically reduces appetite later. He also uses cinnamon, grapefruit juice, and lemon juice with his cheat meals, all of which help control blood sugar spikes. Second, he increases the speed at which food moves through his digestive system. Caffeine plays a key role here. The faster food travels through you, the less of it actually gets absorbed. And third, this is the craziest part, he does brief muscular contractions immediately before and roughly 90 minutes after his biggest cheat meals. This is exactly why he was doing those bathroom air squats. Just 60 to 90 seconds of exercise, whether it's air squats or wall presses, activates something in your muscles called GLUT4 transporters. Think of them as tiny gateways that spring open to receive incoming glucose. By opening these muscle gateways right before a massive surge of sugar hits your bloodstream, you're essentially telling your body, send all the calories here, to the muscles, not to the fat cells. It's an absolutely brilliant hack that lets you genuinely enjoy your cheat day without completely sabotaging your progress. So that covers the fat loss side of things, but what about building muscle? This is where Ferriss shares his geek-to-freak transformation story, where he gained a mind-blowing 34 pounds of muscle in just 28 days. And he accomplished this with a grand total of only 4 hours in the gym. The program he followed is called Occam's Protocol, named after Occam's razor, the principle that the simplest explanation is usually correct. It defies practically everything you see in mainstream fitness magazines. Instead of spending hours doing dozens of different exercises, you do very few, sometimes just 2 to 4 exercises per entire workout. Instead of performing 3 to 5 sets of each exercise, you do only 1 single set. But that 1 set gets taken to absolute muscular failure, the point where you physically cannot move the weight another fraction of an inch. Instead of lifting weights quickly, you use a super slow tempo, 5 full seconds lifting up, 5 full seconds lowering down. This completely eliminates momentum and keeps the muscle under constant, brutal tension, which is an incredibly powerful trigger for growth. And here's the most counterintuitive piece of the puzzle. As you get bigger and stronger, you actually go to the gym less frequently. You have to increase your recovery time between workouts. A bigger, stronger muscle needs more time to repair and grow. You might start with workouts every Monday and Friday, but after several weeks, you might only train once every 5 days, or even just once weekly. The workouts themselves are brutally short and simple. One session might just be a close grip pull-down and a machine shoulder press. The next might be a slight incline bench press and a leg press. That's literally it. One set of each exercise, taken to complete failure, with that slow 5-second up, 5-second down tempo. The real work, Ferriss explains, doesn't happen in the gym. It happens in your kitchen. To support this kind of rapid muscle growth, you have to eat enormous amounts of food. The book details high-calorie protein shakes and the old-school bodybuilding secret of GOMAD, a gallon of milk a day, specifically for people who struggle to gain weight. The legendary story of Casey Viator and the Colorado experiment from the 70s perfectly demonstrates this principle. Under Arthur Jones's guidance, Viator gained 63 pounds of muscle in 28 days. The workouts were incredibly short and infrequent. The gym time was just the trigger. The food and rest were what actually built the muscle. So you can strip away fat using the slow-carb diet, and you can pack on muscle with Occam's protocol. But what if you don't want to add 34 pounds of muscle? What if you're a woman who just wants to lose those last stubborn 10 pounds and achieve a perfectly toned physique? Ferriss introduces what he calls the jewel, the single most effective movement for total body transformation, especially for women. It's the two-handed kettlebell swing. He tells the incredible transformation story of Tracy Reifkind, a woman who lost over 100 pounds. Her secret wasn't endless hours of cardio or crash dieting. It was the kettlebell swing, performed just twice weekly for roughly 20 minutes each session. This single exercise works your entire posterior chain, your glutes, hamstrings, and all the muscles running up your back. It builds a powerful, athletic physique while burning an incredible amount of fat. It's responsible for what Ferriss calls the perfect posterior. It's the ultimate minimum effective dose for building a strong, lean body. Just 2 20-minute workouts per week, focusing on 50 to 75 swings, combined with clean eating, can produce head-turning results in less than a month. The 4-hour body dives deep into so many other fascinating areas, each one an exploration of hacking human potential. There's the effortless Superhuman section, where a coach named Barry Ross teaches how to gain incredible strength with virtually no weight gain. His secret? Lifting extremely heavy weights for very few reps, just 2 or 3, and never going anywhere near failure. He trains his athletes to view strength not as brute force, but as a neurological skill that can be refined. He teaches them to, quote, do as little as needed, not as much as possible. Using his methods, Ferriss personally added over 100 pounds to his deadlift in less than 8 weeks. Then there's the Ice Age chapter, exploring how cold exposure accelerates fat loss. It tells the story of Ray Cronise, a NASA scientist who wondered how swimmer Michael Phelps could consume 12,000 calories daily without getting fat. The answer wasn't just the swimming itself, it was the cold water. Cold exposure activates brown adipose tissue, or BAT, which is essentially fat-burning fat, that generates body heat by burning your regular white fat. Simple strategies like placing an ice pack on the back of your neck for 20 minutes in the evening, taking cold showers, or drinking ice water first thing in the morning can significantly boost your metabolic rate. And naturally, there's the section on improving sex. This isn't just bedroom techniques, it's about hacking your hormones at a fundamental level. Ferriss details his personal journey of discovering his testosterone levels were dangerously low and how he naturally tripled them. No injections, no prescriptions required. He used a straightforward protocol involving specific foods and supplements, many of which are genuinely surprising. Things like fermented cod liver oil, high-dose vitamin D3, and Brazil nuts for selenium. He explains how cholesterol, which we've been taught to fear like poison, is actually the essential precursor to all sex hormones. Eating specific high cholesterol meals the night before can dramatically boost both libido and performance. He also dedicates 2 entire chapters to demystifying the female orgasm, framing it as a learnable skill that can be practiced and perfected. He shares a 15-minute technique, learned from actual experts in the field, that focuses on goalless, completely mindful practice. The key insight is that orgasm isn't something a man gives to a woman. It's something he helps her achieve for herself. By removing all the pressure of performance and focusing on a very specific feather-light touch, he describes it as the pressure of 2 sheets of paper. It becomes possible for women to have consistent, powerful orgasms. Finally, the book ventures into the realm of extreme endurance. Could you go from being a complete non-runner to finishing a 50-kilometer ultramarathon in just 12 weeks? Ferriss introduces Brian McKenzie and the CrossFit Endurance Method, which completely flips conventional long-distance training upside down. Instead of long, slow, boring runs, you focus on high-intensity interval training, strength work, and perfecting your running mechanics. The idea is teaching your body to be dramatically more efficient, so you can run farther and faster with a tiny fraction of the traditional training volume. Throughout all these wildly different sections, one underlying message remains crystal clear. Your body is a system that can be understood and optimized. The popular advice is often based on incomplete science or pure marketing hype. By questioning everything, tracking your own personal results, and applying the minimum effective dose principle, you can achieve things that honestly seem superhuman to most people. It's not about magic or genetics, it's simply about using a better method. When you step back and look at the 4-Hour Body as a complete work, it's incredibly easy to get overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information. The book is, as Ferriss himself calls it, a, quote, choose-your-own-adventure buffet. There are sections covering everything from extending your lifespan to holding your breath longer than Houdini did. But when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, you realize something important. This book isn't really about body hacks at all. It's about cultivating a specific mindset. It's actually a Trojan horse. You pick it up because you want to lose 20 pounds or build better arms. But what you actually walk away with is a completely new way of thinking that applies to every single area of your life. The most powerful lesson, at least for me personally, is this idea of the experimental lifestyle. Ferriss isn't positioning himself as some all-knowing guru with perfect answers. He presents himself as an explorer, a guide who's willing to try the strange and unconventional approaches to see what actually works. And he's actively inviting you to do exactly the same thing. To stop blindly following the generic one-size-fits-all advice from magazines and so-called experts, and to start treating your own body as your personal laboratory. This is an incredibly empowering perspective. In a world where so much feels completely outside our control, the economy, politics, other people's actions, this book reminds us that our own physical reality is almost always within our direct command. Controlling your body puts you firmly back in the driver's seat of your entire life. I remember my father vividly after he lost over 70 pounds using these exact principles. The physical transformation was obviously remarkable, but the mental and social shift was even more profound. He told me he felt like he'd lost his invisibility cloak. People started genuinely taking him more seriously, actively asking for his opinion on things. But more importantly, he started taking himself seriously. After accomplishing something he genuinely thought was impossible, losing all that weight, all the other impossibles scattered throughout his life suddenly started looking a whole lot more achievable. That's the real magic hidden in this book. The confidence you gain from taking complete control of your physical self naturally spills over into everything else in your world. It becomes the rock-solid foundation you can use to build a more effective, more adventurous, and ultimately more fulfilling life. So how can you start applying these ideas right now, today? Here are 3 simple, actionable steps. First, pick just one single goal. Don't try tackling everything simultaneously. Look at the buffet of options presented in this book, and choose the one thing that genuinely excites you most. Is it losing fat? Building strength? Improving your sleep quality? Focus all your energy on one clear target. Second, for the next 7 days, start measuring something, literally anything. Take an honest before photo. Use a tape measure around your waist. Track exactly what you eat by snapping a quick picture of every meal before you eat it. You don't even have to change what you're eating just yet. The simple act of bringing awareness often sparks change all by itself. Remember this principle: what gets measured gets managed. Third, try one uncommon experiment from the book. Choose one small, low-risk hack and actually give it a legitimate shot. Maybe it's doing 60 seconds of air squats right before your biggest meal of the day. Maybe it's taking a brisk 5-minute cold shower every morning. Or maybe it's testing the slow-carb diet for just 5 days straight, knowing you have a glorious, guilt-free cheat day waiting for you at the end. Make it a fun game. See what actually happens. This journey isn't about achieving perfection. It's about becoming progressively better, one small, effective dose at a time. It's about genuinely realizing you have far more power than you think to design the future you actually want, starting with the body you live in every single day. That was a summary of The 4-Hour Body by Timothy Ferriss. We've explored some of its most powerful concepts today, but I'll be completely honest with you. Any summary can only ever be a basic map. The real treasure gets discovered when you walk the path yourself. The true magic of a book like this happens in those quiet moments of reading, when a particular story or simple phrase connects with something deep inside you in a way you didn't expect. This summary is your guide to help you decide whether this book deserves your time and attention. If anything we've discussed today has sparked your curiosity or resonated with a personal goal you're working toward, I genuinely encourage you to grab yourself a copy. Reading it isn't just about absorbing new information. It's an experience that can legitimately change how you see your own untapped potential. There's a link to the book in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable and it gave you something worth thinking about, please do me a small favor and hit that like button, then subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next deep dive into another potentially life-changing book from some of the world's most successful minds. Let's keep learning and growing together.